Have you ever wondered, salt and sodium, they sound the same, but which one is really the threat to your blood pressure? Today, we'll hear the story of Harold, a 71-year-old man who once believed that cutting back on salt was enough, until he uncovered a surprising truth hidden in the tiny numbers on food labels.
My name's Harold. I'm 71, and I live in the suburbs of Kansas with my wife. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure about 3 years ago after a dizzy spell that landed me in the hospital. Ever since then, every time I see my doctor, he keeps repeating the same advice. Cut back on salt, Mr. Harold. The less, the better. So I took his advice. My wife and I cleaned out the whole pantry, tossed out all the salty snacks, stopped adding salt to our soups, and I even quit dipping hard-boiled eggs in salt. Honestly, food's been pretty bland since then. Hard to swallow sometimes, but I've stuck with it because I'm afraid of what might happen if my blood pressure goes up again. Then, one day, I was at the store reading the label on a can of soup, and it said, low sodium, 140 milliliters per serving. That made me pause. It didn't mention salt at all, only sodium. I asked my wife, wait, where's the salt? Why does it say sodium? Does that mean it doesn't have any salt? She wasn't sure either. She said, maybe sodium's just a technical term. Let's treat it like salt. Since then, I've started noticing it more. A lot of products, soap, sauces, bread, even breakfast cereal, don't say anything about salt. They just list sodium. And honestly, I don't know what to trust anymore. If I'm avoiding salt, is that enough? Or do I need to worry about sodium too? Lately, I've been getting concerned. I had a stew the other day. Didn't even taste that salty. But afterward, my blood pressure spiked. Another time I had some low-salt instant noodles, but still felt flushed and hot. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm doing something wrong. Like maybe I'm still getting too much sodium and don't even know it. So today, I just want to ask, what's the real difference between salt and sodium, and which one is more dangerous for someone like me with high blood pressure?
The expert begins in a calm, reassuring tone. Hello, Mr. Harold. Thank you for sharing your story in such an honest and endearing way. That was not only a smart question, but also a very relevant one. Because I believe millions of older adults are dealing with the exact same confusion. Let's start by clearing something up. Salt and sodium aren't exactly the same, but they're very closely related. 1. Salt versus sodium. What's the difference? When we say table salt, we're usually referring to sodium chloride, NaCl, which is made up of about 40% sodium and 60% chloride. To put it simply, if you add 1 teaspoon of salt to your soup, you're adding roughly 2,300 milliliters of sodium, which happens to be the maximum daily limit recommended by the American Heart Association. On the other hand, sodium is how food manufacturers list the exact amount of this mineral in their products. Why? Because sodium doesn't just come from salt. It hides in hundreds of common ingredients, sauces, seasonings, canned foods, frozen meals, and even sandwich bread. 2. Why does sodium affect blood pressure? Sodium holds onto water in the body. The more sodium you consume, the more water your kidneys retain in order to balance the salt. That extra water increases the volume of blood in your bloodstream. More blood, more pressure on your artery walls, higher blood pressure. For younger folks, the body can often regulate this better. But for people over 60, kidney function slows down, blood vessels stiffen, and every extra gram of sodium becomes a burden on the heart. 3. hidden sources of sodium in everyday foods. Many people, like you, Mr. Harold, think, if I'm not adding salt, I must be okay. But here's the catch. A single slice of sandwich bread can have 150, 200 milliliters of sodium. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. That's 900, 1,000 millibars of sodium. Nearly half your daily limit. Even a bowl of sweet breakfast cereal might have 200, 300 milliliters of sodium, despite not tasting salty at all. And that's the dangerous part. You don't feel the saltiness. But the sodium still adds up quietly, day by day, often exceeding safe levels, without you realizing it. Key takeaway. So when we say, cutting back on salt to manage blood pressure, it's not just about skipping the salt shaker. More importantly, it's about monitoring sodium throughout your entire daily diet. And that's exactly why, even though you've stopped adding salt, you might still be consuming too much sodium without knowing it. The expert opens with a gentle but serious warning. Mr. Harold, the real danger isn't that one salty meal you had last weekend. It's when salty foods become a daily habit, repeated over months or even years. Especially for people with high blood pressure, every milligram of excess sodium puts extra strain on the heart. Quote 1. More blood volume, more pressure, more risk. As we discussed earlier, when there's too much sodium in your system, your body retains water to balance it out. That extra water causes blood volume to increase, more pressure inside your arteries, the heart to pump harder to move the blood around. What's the result? High blood pressure. And not just a quick spike. If this continues long term, it creates a dangerous cycle. High blood pressure damages artery walls, weakened arteries, more prone to clots or rupture. Worst case outcomes: stroke, heart failure, and chronic kidney damage too. Blood pressure fluctuations. The silent enemy no one talks about. There's a term more older adults should know: blood pressure variability, when your BP rises and falls unpredictably throughout the day. This can happen if you eat sodium inconsistently, cutting back one moment, then indulging the next. You eat a low-sodium breakfast. BP stays stable lunchtime. A can of soup. Sodium spikes. BP rises dinner. Soy sauce or fish sauce. Another sodium punch to your arteries. These little surges might not make you feel dizzy or sick right away, but over time, they wear down your blood vessels like slow erosion, day after day. 3. For older adults, the impact doubles after age 60. Your cardiovascular and kidney functions start to decline. That means arteries are less elastic, more easily damaged by pressure. Kidneys are less efficient, can't flush out sodium as well, so a sodium amount that a younger person might tolerate easily becomes a serious burden for someone in their 60s or beyond. 4. Ignoring sodium. Somnest feeding a silent disease. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer for a reason. It doesn't cause pain. It doesn't come with a fever. It doesn't bleed. But when it finally shows itself, it's often too late. We see people who've suffered small brain aneurysms, had mini strokes, TIAs, transient ischemic attacks, developed heart failure, and now rely on medication for life. And many of them still say, "But I don't eat that salty," not realizing that hidden sodium in processed food was quietly raising their BP all along. To end this section, here's a powerful reminder. Failing to control sodium, especially for seniors with hypertension, is like adding drops of oil to a smoldering fire. It might not explode today, but when it does, it'll be too late to stop it. Let's begin with a little empathy and encouragement. Mr. Harold, I understand. Changing your taste buds isn't easy, especially when you've enjoyed salty foods your whole life. But believe me, you don't have to turn every meal into a punishment just to lower your blood pressure. The key isn't about cutting out all salt. It's about being smart with how much sodium you're getting throughout the day. 1. Know the limits, understanding the numbers according to the American Heart Association. A healthy adult should consume no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. For people with high blood pressure, the ideal limit is under 1,500 milligrams per day. Here's the catch: 1 teaspoon of salt, about 2,300 milligrams of sodium. That means just 1 teaspoon maxes out your entire daily allowance. And unfortunately, most sodium doesn't come from your salt shaker. It comes from processed and packaged foods. 2. Learn to read nutrition labels, a life-saving skill. Every time you go to the grocery store, don't just rely on bold labels like low sodium. Flip the package over and look at the nutrition facts, especially the sodium line. Here's a quick guide: 140 millimoles per serving. Acceptable 140, 400 millimoles per serving. Be cautious, use sparingly, 400 millimoles per serving. Best to avoid or portion out carefully. Also, watch out for sneaky sodium-related ingredients like monosodium glutamate, MSG, baking soda, baking powder, disodium phosphate, sodium benzoate, preservative. 3. Choose whole foods. The less processed, the less sodium. These fresh foods are naturally low in sodium and great for heart health. Fresh vegetables, spinach, broccoli, carrots, fruits, bananas, apples, watermelon, oranges, unseasoned meats, chicken, fish, beef, whole grains, brown rice, oats. Try to limit foods like deli meats, hot dogs, ham canned soups, and instant noodles, soy sauce, fish sauce, bottled tomato sauce, fast foods, pizza, fried chicken, French fries. 4. Cut salt without cutting flavor. Kitchen tricks that work. Many people think low salt means flavorless, but flavor doesn't just come from salt. It comes from how you season. Try these to keep dishes tasty without the sodium overload. Fresh lemon juice or apple cider vinegar adds bright, tangy flavor. Herbs like basil, oregano, thyme for aroma and depth. Garlic, shallots, onions stimulate your taste buds naturally. Bell peppers, black pepper, fresh ginger bring heat and complexity without salt. Bonus: try herb salt, a mix of dried herbs with just a touch of sodium. 5. Take it one step at a time. You don't have to go cold turkey. The most important tip: don't try to change everything overnight. Gradual change works best. Try this weekly approach. Week 1. Cut your salt usage in half. Week 2. Start reading nutrition labels and choosing low-sodium options. Week 3. Experiment with herbs, citrus, or vinegar instead of salt. Week 4. Monitor your blood pressure and see how you feel. This gentle shift helps your taste buds adjust and keeps changes sustainable. Ending with a note of encouragement. Lowering your blood pressure isn't just about medication. It's about making wise, everyday choices in your kitchen. And Mr. Harold, once you understand where sodium hides and how to season smartly, you'll still enjoy flavorful meals, stay healthy, and keep your blood pressure steady without dreading your dinner plate. Let's start with a gentle, clear recap. Today, we've taken a closer look at something that seems simple, but actually causes a lot of confusion. Salt and sodium are not the same thing, though they're closely related. Table salt, NaCl, is a compound that contains sodium. It's sodium, not salt itself, that directly affects blood pressure by retaining water, increasing blood volume, and raising pressure inside your arteries. And sodium isn't just in salt, it's hidden in hundreds of processed and packaged foods we eat every day. Why it matters. The real risks we overlook. If we don't pay attention to sodium intake, especially after age 60, we're not just looking at high blood pressure. We're also raising the risk of stroke heart failure, kidney damage, and other silent threats like damaged blood vessels and unstable blood pressure fluctuations. The scary part, these things don't strike with warning signs. They build up quietly, every single day, through foods we don't even think twice about. So what can you do? 2 easy actions starting today. First, get into the habit of reading food labels. Every time you shop, look at the sodium line on the nutrition facts. If an item has more than 400 millihas of sodium per serving, the best move is to put it back on the shelf. Second, adjust your taste gradually. You don't need to cut all salt immediately. Start by reducing the salt you use by 1/3 and add fresh flavors like lemon, garlic, and herbs. Within 2 to 3 weeks, your taste buds will begin to adapt, and you won't even miss the salt. A word of encouragement. Keep moving forward, just like Mr. Harold. None of us want to overhaul our lifelong eating habits, especially in our later years. But with a little patience, a habit of reading labels, and a clear understanding of what really needs to be avoided, it is possible to restore and maintain good health. Because cutting sodium isn't about giving up flavor. It's about giving your heart one more chance to beat steady and strong every single day. Mr. Harold bravely shared his question today, and I'm certain he's not the only one who's felt confused about the difference between salt and sodium. Maybe you've also found yourself puzzled while reading food labels, unsure what to avoid or which words to trust. And maybe that uncertainty has even made mealtime more stressful than it should be. If you've ever had questions like these, please don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever tried cutting back on salt? Is there a particular dish you've found hard to give up? Or maybe you're just not sure where to start. I read every single comment because that's how I learn what really matters to you, and it helps me create more videos that support your journey to better health, peace of mind, and confidence in your choices. If you found today's video helpful, I invite you to subscribe to the channel for weekly tips on managing blood pressure, simple nutrition advice, and heartwarming stories like Harold's. Thank you for watching. Wishing you a peaceful heart, both literally and emotionally.